Hi everyone, and welcome to Ruth Reacts to Books. I'm your host, Ruxie Ruth McGouth, and today I'm reacting to Janet Evanovich's book, To the Nines, about plucky bounty hunter Stephanie Plum, who gets herself into all kinds of trouble trying to get criminals who have tried to run away from their court cases. So this is the 9th book in the series, and this is a series where you can pretty much pick up anywhere, but I always recommend starting with the first book. The first book in this series is called One for the Money, but so far, this is my favorite book of the entire series that I've read so far, and the only book that I gave 5 stars to. I've given most of the books in this series 4 stars. I really liked them all. She's maybe not the best bounty hunter I've ever heard of, but she's got a lot of oomph. She really gives it her best, but it may not be her strong suit, bounty hunting, but she sure does need a job, and so that's why she does it. She's not terrible, but yeah, let's go with that. So anyway, great series. This book I gave 5 stars to. So in this series, I'll read the back of the book. I'll tell you what I liked, what I didn't like. I'll tell you what food I have associated and given a recipe for in my YouTube. It's in the description. And then I'll tell you about my nails and why I have worn these ones for this week and why I have associated it with this book. So let's get to it. Stephanie Plum has got rent to pay, people shooting at her, and psychos wanting her dead every day of the week, much to the dismay of her mother, her family, and the men in her life. The guy who slices meat at the deli, and the list goes on and on. An ordinary person would cave under the pressure, but hey, she's from Jersey. Stephanie Plum may not be the best bounty hunter in beautiful downtown Trenton, but she's pretty darn good at turning bad situations her way, and she always gets her man. Into the Nines, her cousin Vinny, who's her boss, has posted bail on Samuel Singh, an illegal immigrant. When the elusive Mr. Singh goes missing, Stephanie is on the case, but what she uncovers is far more sinister than anyone imagines, and leads to a group of killers who give new meaning to the word hunter. In a race against time that takes her from the Jersey Turnpike to the Las Vegas Strip, Stephanie Plum is on the chase of her life. The unforgettable characters, non-stop action, high-stakes suspense, and sheer entertainment of To the Nines define Janet Evanovich as unique among today's writers. I agree. It was great. So, as I said, I gave it 5 stars. This is the first 5-star Janet Evanovich book that I've read so far. What did I like about the book? Well, a lot. So, first, there was a lot of plot in this one. So they kind of talked about it in the inside of the jacket. Like, it starts out being that they're going to look for Samuel Singh, and then it turns into this whole plot about these killers. And so that's really interesting. And so that was really cool sort of twist, and turns into obviously much more than just looking for this immigrant that they're trying to track down. The second was Miss Lula. So Lula is kind of another person that works with Stephanie in these books, and she is kind of a recurring character, you could say, and I just love Lula. She just really brings the books to life, and she's just such a character, and she's maybe like the sidekick, I guess. And she is in rare form in this book, and I just really enjoyed her completely. I guess, like, I don't give any spoilers, but like, I really understood a lot of what Lula was going through in this book. So loved Lula. And I would say the other side characters, like, that we met because of, they're not people who will reoccur in for future books, but the people that they met because of the case, like, they were very real. They were very annoying, most of them. But they weren't so annoying that I hated them or that I hated the book. I didn't want to read the book. So that was cool. It was good. Vegas Baby. That was hilarious. Their entire trip to Vegas was great. Stephanie just gets herself into so much trouble at every turn. There were times, it's like when you're watching the horror movie and you're like, no, you definitely should not split up, or you should definitely not go upstairs by yourself. Like, of course you shouldn't do that. Like, you can just see these things coming sometimes. You're like, what was she thinking, you know? Great. We meet, maybe we've met her before, but like we get to see Joe's grandma. Like Joe's another person that's in the books recurring, but we get to meet some of Joe's family, and especially Joe's grandma in this book. And that's very interesting. I enjoy her a lot. She has some special skills that are interesting. One of my favorite things that I'll end with of the things I liked. Now, I always talk about how I don't figure out the mystery, and I like that, but it turns out when I do figure out who the killer is before the end, I also like that. I don't like it if I can tell and it's super obvious the entire book who the killer is, but in this book it wasn't obvious. But I did figure it out before she did, like about maybe like 3/4 of the way through the book. I was like, oh my God, I know who the killer is. It's this person. And then I was right, and I was so proud of myself. So that was really fun. And what did I not like? Honestly, I couldn't think of anything that I didn't like, because this book was so good. So I'm really hoping it's the sign that all the rest of the books will be just as good as this one. So yeah, it's my hope. Even though they've all been so good, but this one just was especially good. What did I put for the food to go with this book? Well, let's just say, I'm sure this isn't a surprise in New Jersey, they love pizza. So I don't know if I think I've done hot sticks before, but that was before I was doing it. That was in the old version of Ruth Reacts. And I don't know what I said I should look back and see what I said for my food that went with that book. But for this one, I went with pizza, because they do love to eat their pizza in this series a lot. So I have given you a recipe. It was from the same blog that we did last week with the gourmet grilled cheese. This is a homemade pizza recipe, so you can completely customize it, whatever toppings you want. If you want vegetarian, if you want meat, you figure that out, whatever you want. That would be great. So I've given you a homemade pizza recipe in the description. Take a look at that. It's from the Love and Lemons blog. And then for my nails this week, put my book back up here so I can show you my nails. I'm wearing, it's called Hibiscus Heat Super Glitzy Pink Bubblegum Pop. And the reason I picked these was because they take this trip to Vegas, and I just felt like these really said Vegas. I've been to Vegas a couple times, and these kind of really glitzy and glammy and pink and sparkly. I didn't know how it would feel, because I felt like they were maybe a little too pink and sparkly for me. But now that I've been wearing them for a couple days, I feel kind of like a princess. And I'm kind of enjoying them. I think I'm going to look good for the next week with these pink princess nails on. It reminded me of when I was getting married to my second husband. And I was like walking to where we're going to have our photographs taken. And I was wearing, it was like I've been married, several times. So this was like my most wedding-y look that I've ever had. So my other wedding dresses were maybe like less in your face, or less like typical wedding, but this one was like the most classic wedding look, with like a A-line and like very pretty, like, and then like very like flowy. And I was walking down the hallway in this hotel to where we're gonna have our photos taken, and this little girl like was walking with her mom along the hallway, and she like looked up at me and she was like, "Mommy, it's a real princess." And that might be one of the favorite moments I've had in my entire life. It was pretty great. But it's also great knowing all of you. I hope that you all have a wonderful week and that you have a great moment. So, love you. See you next week. Bye-bye.